Hi, and welcome to the Stop Chasing Skinny podcast, where every single Tuesday we interview a new guest to talk about topics to help you craft your own fit life. The title Stop Chasing Skinny comes from my own personal tagline of life begins when you stop chasing skinny. You see, I spent many years running many miles, taking many classes, and trying many diets, but none of those worked. So finally, I got down to the business of understanding what really matters. And it's not just about how much exercise you can do or how little you can eat. It's everything else that goes into it. So I created this podcast to help you so you can craft your own fit life. Every single Tuesday, you can listen to an interview with a guest, and now every Friday, you can listen to me a second time, where I take questions you have sent to me, and I spend about 15 minutes answering them. You can even feed your brain this nourishing brain food by listening while you're cooking, commuting, cleaning, walking the dog, or just about anything else, because that is how we craft a fit life. So let's get on with the show. So today's guest is Amorah Kelly, and Amorah and I know each other from, you guessed it, my business networking group. There is a theme here. It's because I am fortunate enough to be in a group with so many amazing professionals, especially health professionals. So Amorah and I, we've been friends for a few months now, and I've been her client, and she's been my client. And we just have fun like that. So Amorah does acupuncture. She also does Chinese medicine. And before meeting her, I wasn't quite sure what that even meant. So of course I had to have her on the show. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. So could you tell us a little more about your background, how you got into it, and what it is?
Okay, I'd be happy to. So I've been a licensed acupuncturist and Oriental medicine practitioner for the last 20 years. And I am born an intuitive empathic healer. And I was directed to channel the energy and medicine through this vehicle, this ancient medicine practice. So I would be licensed and grounded. As you can imagine, energy healing can be woo-woo out there.
You're not kidding. And people who don't know how to do it, they could do a lot of damage.
Right. So it's all about directing the energy through, with the intention, through the needles, which are really tiny, fine, little healing tools that help people organically heal their body, mind, and spirit.
That's wonderful. And it doesn't hurt at all.
Well, no, on occasion it might. And
Yeah.
so it's just simply, it could be like a little prick, but really I do it very gently, and they're very thin needles. They're as thin as a hair.
Yeah, I couldn't feel anything.
Right.
It was really cool. So now, okay, so I find this really interesting. How did you find out that you were an intuitive healer? I think you talked a little bit about a job that you had had before, and you kept saying, "Oh man, it keeps leading me back to this." What was that job?
Okay, that's so true. I was in business, in administration, and I worked for a gift company and administrative assistant, and I was supposed to do all the paperwork and projects and whatnot my boss had me do. Instead, I kept finding myself going to the desks of my coworkers and asking them how they felt and what was going on with them, because I could literally feel the energy move through me or not as it related to their pain body.
Wow, that is really interesting, because I think, there's so much to the energy work that we just continue to press down and we don't pay attention to a lot. So,
It's true.
Yeah, but you did pay attention to it, thank goodness. So let's talk a little bit about acupuncture and how it relates to our health overall. Like you said that with acupuncture you can treat certain things, like you can do some things to help with addictions or overeating or pain management. So can you explain maybe some of the different options that you have?
Yes. So there's a protocol called the NADA, N-A-D-A, and that is a national detox system that helps the body rewire itself in the mind, in the spirit, and helps break the addictive patterns. And there are 5 little tiny needles that go in the ears, and they regulate the organ system itself, including the parasympathetic nervous system.
Wow, that's so cool because I did just hear a study the other day that was talking about they were checking the brains of people who had used cocaine for an extended period of time, and they were showing up that they had a certain protein in their brain. So you're helping to rewire a lot of this stuff, and the same thing with the addiction to food, right?
Exactly. And also, what gets released is the natural healing chemicals, the endorphins, the dopamine, the antihistamines, all of that feel good chemicals that we strive for in outer things, food,
Yeah.
addiction, relationships, whatever. And that's right inside of us, a treasure chest that we get to tap into instead.
That's
healing.
great. That is healing. So then let's talk a little bit about stress management. So how does acupuncture help with stress management?
Oh, it's excellent. It's excellent because what happens is our bodies start revving up and we're in the sympathetic nervous system,
Okay.
fight or flight. And that's what we do in our society, just rev up, rev up, rev up, and then we burn out. And that's a lot of stress on the body. And so acupuncture and energy healing and the Chinese herbs are all about tuning that down to get us into our own body's natural healing rhythm and switching gears to the parasympathetic, which is all that feel good again energy that helps us rest and restore and work more efficiently, actually. So our stress levels can go down and we live longer, more vital lives.
That's awesome because my listeners know that adrenal fatigue is something near and dear to my heart. I like to do it to myself, apparently.
Well,
so this
it's an
explains-
addiction.
It is an addiction, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
We like it. We
do.
love that. Give me more.
Right. Keep me in high gear, please.
Right.
So that's a great explanation of how acupuncture can help with something like adrenal fatigue even and burnout, right?
Absolutely. It helps restore the kidneys and the cortisol levels and the adrenals. It's excellent. All of our organs.
And so then let's talk a little bit about women's health because you've talked about that in our group before. How does acupuncture help with women's health?
Okay, so it's all about balancing the hormones. So that'll give us better sleep, better self-care and awareness, and it will help us live more vital lives again, longer, healthier, happier, self-centered, not abusive but self-loving ways. And acupuncture does that simply by, again, bringing our attention, our awareness in on ourself and balancing all that energy so that the organ systems can work better and hormones can relax.
Oh, that's great. And to kind of tie it back into the, just with the relaxation and overeating, I know a lot of my overeating came from trying to deal with anxiety. And so I was always ramped up and amped up and anxious. And so eating a lot of food would make me kind of be able to calm down.
Right. It sedates us.
Yes.
Right. Except it helps us, it traps us too. And so
Yes.
acupuncture helps to switch that gear from anxiety to excitement about life, to possibilities, give us more motivation, and free us from these binds that take our life away. We don't want that. And then we
Yeah.
look more beautiful from the inside out and vibrant and alive and loving, and it's beautiful.
That's
Beautiful,
true. We
beautiful
glow,
care.
right?
Right.
Oh,
Self-care.
That's awesome. I think that's one of my favorite definitions of self-care, because we're told all the time, like, take time for yourself, but like, what does that really mean half the time,
Right.
So when you're taking the time for yourself, you can do something like have some acupuncture.
Well, and often people come to me when this is the last resort.
Yeah.
And they think there's nothing else that will help. Well, they can come sooner and feel better sooner. However, whenever anyone comes, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
And usually they walk in dull. There's a dullness about people because we're all burning ourselves out with many ways. And then they leave within the hour all bright and brilliant. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at your eyes, look at your face, feel yourself. It's like, welcome home again.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it's
Yeah.
all about the rest, the deep internal rest that is needed. That's internal medicine.
Yeah. And that reset versus
Reset.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I know after I was in here, I left and I felt a lot lighter.
Right.
like lighter on my feet.
Right.
You know, I didn't lose weight
Energetically.
while I was here.
Well,
I lost something.
Well, and also weight is energy. It's just bound up energy. So actually the lighter is losing weight.
Interesting.
Emotional weight. And then what happens? Our physical weight follows.
It always does. It
Right.
really does. And that's, I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, how this whole podcast became. Life begins when you stop chasing skinny, because I was very focused on the result and I just kept pounding away at it. And then as soon as I started taking things off of my plate, stressing less, chilling out, actually relaxing, still learning that skill.
It's a lifelong, it's a lifelong experience. That's for sure.
It is.
For all
It
of
is.
us.
Yeah.
Oh
True.
my gosh, including myself especially. I know.
I know, right? So we're going to take a really quick break and we'll be right back. You've heard me talk a lot about learning how to reach your fitness goals, and more frequently, how to look as fit as you feel, while learning to stop chasing skinny. And you've also thought to yourselves, yeah, I do want to reach my fitness goals in a shorter, more concise way, to stop wasting my time bouncing back and forth from fitness tip to fitness tip in magazines, wasting hours researching the latest and greatest diet, only to end up looking and feeling the same way you've been looking and feeling for years. And my guess is that you've been thinking about this for a long time. Am I right? I know the feeling because I played these games too, for a very long time, in fact. I'm here to tell you this. Stop thinking and sign up for the SK FitLife Challenge, an online training, nutrition, and coaching program that will lead you through 12 weeks of step-by-step guidance to help you finally reach your goals of looking fabulous and feeling fabulous. You're going to get to free up all the headspace you've been wasting picking through random diet information being fed to you through the media and simplifying the seemingly complicated world of health. Your chances now. Do you really need more time, more information, more plans for the future? Or do you want to become that fit person today? Because the truth is this. You can be that fit person, or you can be the person that sits around thinking about becoming fitter. It's your choice. Read more magazines, blog posts, and bits and pieces on social media, or take action. Because let's face it, if you're not where you want to be, your current program is not working out for you. I want you to be successful. And why is this? Because you've already got what it takes. You've been doing the work all along. It's just been the wrong work. You have the desire, the discipline, and the potential. Now let's get you on the right track so those efforts you are already putting in can take you in the best direction possible. Join me and the hundreds of other SK FitLife clients for the 12-week online fitness challenge at skfitlife.com. All right, now let's get back to the show. Okay, and welcome back. So we talked a little bit about, you know, people come to see you a lot of times when they're kind of at the end of their rope and there's no other way that they see. So, you know, let's talk about frequency outside of the emergency care. So, you know, how often do people like to see you? I mean, like, what's kind of a regular, like, kind of maintenance schedule? You know, for, like, massage, you may say, okay, I need to see you, like, once a month or something like that.
Okay, so for preventative health, once a month is definitely ideal.
Okay.
And if there's an ongoing issue, we're breaking addictive patterns, once a week is really important.
Okay.
Once a week. And if there's major health issues, then as soon as you can come in, do come in.
Yeah.
And you'll start feeling better.
And probably, too, with, like, emotional stuff, too, right? If you're going through something really tough emotionally.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because it's body, mind, and spirit. So usually our spirit gets disturbed, and then our emotions get out of whack, and then we get into physical pain.
Yeah.
So it's a healing process, and the sooner we can start moving things along, the energy within, the better we feel. So whatever, you know, we have to trust our intuition. Whatever calls you forth to come in is when you do.
Yeah. No,
Otherwise, I'll remind you.
I know, right?
Right.
No, it's
Happy
wonderful
to.
though. Yeah, because I think sometimes too, you know, whenever you're introduced to a new healing modality, you may think like, well, what's often enough to get benefits from? What's you know, when might I want to go more often? And I think like you just described it beautifully because you're right. Like if you're in crisis, like come see you more and work through it versus like if everything's just going along, Everything's going along.
And then in China, I mean, this happens daily. And in the Orient, this is their daily medicine.
Interesting. So tell me a little more about that.
Well, the whole society in the Orient was based on this medicine for thousands and thousands of years. So it's as common to them as whatever we do over here would be to us.
Starbucks.
Okay, I was going to say that. Oh my God, I wanted to say that. Yes, Starbucks.
Yes.
That's our morning fix.
Yeah.
But that's not. We already know that can
Right.
create problems.
It creates a lot of problems because it pushes up into high gear.
Right, and then your own body's natural healing rhythms get off, and that's where the problem starts. Not that you have to give up your Starbucks, but you don't have to rely on it. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah, and as a recovering Starbucks addict, I can say I was not in a good place when I was having it like 3 times a day. Like, it's not good.
Well, there's so many. If we're talking about addictions again, there's so many, and what's happening now is the technology addiction.
Well, let's talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think it's like kind of scrambling our brains a little bit.
Yeah, it is. And it's breaking our social contact. We think we're becoming more socially engaging, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I left, for instance, the other night I went to a play to see something at La Jolla Playhouse with my friend, and I left my phone at home. And so I wanted to visit during intermission, and she was on her phone. So I was like, okay, well, I'll see you, later then, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, hello.
I know.
We're
right here.
We're right here.
Well, something too, you talked about the dopamine. With technology, it's this constant dopamine dump. Like every time you look at social media and you have more likes, you have more comments, you have more attention, you have... and
leading
it's
to burnout.
instantaneous. Yeah, totally leading to burnout, right?
Right. And also the physical. Then we have carpal tunnel. We have shoulder and neck issues. Our eyes are getting strained.
Yeah.
So there's good and bad in everything. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
That's what we're creating, hopefully. And that's what I'm committed to, helping people feel better and balance and live the kind of life they want, because it is possible.
Yeah.
And really, we just need to stand still for a moment.
That's
Relax
what it is, right?
And meditate.
Take a breath.
Yeah, exactly. Catch our breath.
Yeah. Which, kind of back to the food thing, I once heard like Tony Robbins say that it's a lot of times when we overeat, it's not so much the food that we've eaten necessarily that makes us feel so much better. It's the fact that our stomach is now super full, pushes on our diaphragm, forces us to deep breathe. No, we're deep breathing.
Right. And also like smoking.
Right.
People take smoking breaks. And what is it? They get to go outside. They get to relax for a minute, and inhale. The only problem is they're inhaling toxins. And then those toxins take over life.
Yeah.
So I help people break that habit as well. And then they can still go outside, take a break, take in the fresh air, and feel better.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So since we are talking about addictions that maybe we don't recognize, I think when people hear addictions, they think of illegal drugs. They think
heroin.
Of alcohol. Exactly.
Doesn't have
heroin.
to be that much.
Right. And I think the more insidious ones are the ones that are legal, the ones that are quote unquote normal. They may not be healthy, but they're normal.
Right.
What else do you see?
Okay. So there's emotional stress.
Okay.
And the way people might bite their nails or
bite their nails. I've seen people like pull out hair.
Yeah, pick their face, pull out their hair. I want to say cutting. That's where I hesitated for a minute. It can go from one extreme to the other. It's mostly, we don't mean to get into these habits because who really wants to hurt ourselves?
Yeah.
But it does take us away for the moment of what seemingly is the problem. We just add on more problems.
Yeah.
So people will come to me and say they have issues in their marriage and that's bothering them. And they need help on how to deal with their children and how are they supposed to take a break, and there's so much to do, and when am I going to exercise, and blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. It never stops.
Right.
And so you think, how can this hour once a week or once a month help? Oh my gosh, tenfold. It's amazing.
It's crazy how some, especially very focused and dedicated rest and restoration can be better than just like you said, like technology actually stresses us out. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm just chilling out every night of the week. But no, you're sitting there on Facebook.
Oh, and television too. Yeah. That's another thing. Well, and it's even more than that, Stephanie, because when I've tapped that little needle in the body perceives it as a foreign invader, which it is.
Yep.
But there's nothing in it. And then the healing switch in our brain, the dopamine that we talked about with technology, whatever, gets switched on, and our 911 response gets triggered. Now our body, our minds are releasing all this organic healing energy, looking for the site of the invasion, but there isn't any. It can't find any. It just finds blocked energy, and that blocked energy causes pain. So slowly but surely, we're opening those energy channels up, and we feel better and better. And then you could become, you might say, addicted to this, but really it's like taking a walk. You're replacing bad habits with good habits. And your body gets used to, or creating more and more comfort within. So we get used to feeling better and relaxing a little more and able to heal ourselves deeper each time we meet up for a healing session.
Yeah, and that's so interesting that you say that because, I was totally addicted to all of the like super fast-paced busy. I was addicted to busy. I was super high achiever. I still do these things.
Well, you're not alone.
Right. Right. But now that I have, I switched gears, I changed careers, I stepped out of the fast lane. Although I'm busy, it's not in the fast lane. Now I can recognize when somebody is really like pushing me and being pushy, and I don't like that energy. And I'm kind of like, you need to chill out. I mean, unless, like it's the IRS and I need to pay some tax bill.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna chill out.
Right, because you're learning boundaries. We're learning boundaries.
Yeah. So would that be so acupuncture, I think, would probably be really good for somebody who struggles with boundaries, right?
Absolutely. Because we all of a sudden get to recognize, whoa, where is my energy and yours, and who, and like, for instance, me, before I got into the healing profession on purpose, like you're talking about, I had issues with boundaries because I felt everyone's energy. So I was like, what's going on? Whose is this? And how come I feel so badly all the time? Yeah. And then once I committed my life to the healing profession, I don't feel that way anymore. It's directed. It's a healing system that we're engaging in together and for the benefit of your well-being or whomever's. Yeah. And it doesn't stay in me. It just moves through me, that energy.
Yeah, but I think that's
a boundary.
Yeah, that's a great story too about somebody who might be listening, and because I talk to clients on a regular basis about how they struggle with saying no, and I think that part of it is that they're struggling with their own boundaries and letting people down, or
right, we don't want to,
right, because it's hard
at the expense of ourselves, though. See, that's the problem, and then it comes out sideways, and nobody wins.
Right.
So and so we're learning to, before we freak out or lay down and die, we're learning slowly but surely what is our comfort level and how can we engage like a pendulum, and eventually we get sort of in the middle, and it's like, oh, this works, I like this.
Yeah. And this is such a great tool to help you get there,
right?
Because it's one of those fuzzy things that it's hard to put words to it. It's hard to define.
It's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling, and feelings are weird for us.
I know, right?
Emotions, what?
Not those.
Not those.
Yeah. So we have this whole huge, beautiful resource, our body, our temple, that we can expand all that head energy and bring it all the way down. That's what acupuncture, energy healing, and Chinese herbs do. Bring all that energy throughout our whole body so we get balanced and use every aspect of our well-being. And then we're that much more fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. All right, so we're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Have you signed up for the 10-day Jumpstart program yet? It's free. The SK FitLife 10-day Jumpstart program is 10 days of emailed lessons straight in your inbox. All of my best lessons straight to you for free. Go to www.skfitlife.com/free 10-day. That's FREE10DAY. See you there. welcome back. Okay, so let's talk more about healing ourselves and diseases, especially some of the really big ones, because I know, you get some kind of big diagnosis and you're going to all these different doctor's appointments. And, say, let's start with breast cancer, for example. Now you're seeing your oncologist, you're seeing all these different people. How can acupuncture and Oriental medicine help somebody who's going through, say, breast cancer?
That's a very good question. I see a lot of people going through chemotherapy, and also their family members. They come in as well because they have the stress of taking care and feeling for their loved ones. Yeah. So acupuncture helps with the symptoms, the side effects of chemotherapy, the low energy, the hot flashes, the nausea, the vomiting, the emotional distress. Yeah. And it's very... the Healing Sanctuary here is very supportive and loving place, a trusting place that you can let go and know no matter what you say, it's okay. No matter how you feel, it's okay. You get to let it go and then get filled back up with a lot of loving energy.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, it's when you're going through a major illness, it's not just the physical, it's the emotional, the mental, and then all the family stuff. Yeah. Oh, all the spiritual stuff for sure. So then, what about some of the other big kind of diseases that people, I mean, obviously people benefit from this, right? But like, what are some of the other things that people would really want to come in for? Or while they're going through, I guess, maybe. And they wouldn't come to you for diabetes.
Well,
but if they're going through diabetes.
Well,
then,
they can. Yeah. So remember, this is a system that was used in the Orient. So the diseases that were happening there might not be happening here. But the cure, it's not a cure, it's a healing process is available to us. That's the gift. Okay. And so if we can, prevention is the number one. If we can help ourselves not get stuck in the energy that backs up and causes all sorts of diseases, high blood pressure, and it's insomnia, you could say. That's not a disease, but if you don't sleep long enough, you start going crazy, and everyone else suffers from that too. Yeah. So then there's diabetes, like you said, and cholesterol, and then there's also fibromyalgia, all sorts of pain, back, neck, shoulder, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of pain going on out there. Yeah. And there's a lot of ways that we can help heal the body and balance it in this healing process to help you through whatever you might be going through or prevent what you might.
Yeah. Well, and you're right, because, I mean, when you just named off all of those diseases, so much of that is lifestyle. And part of that big lifestyle is the stress.
Yeah, and also for myself, for example, it's in my family, it's hereditary that we would lose our organs. My mother lost her lung, my sister, and gallbladder and spleen. I mean, it was crazy. All these things were happening. And her menopause symptoms were horrible. And I thought, oh my gosh. And my sisters started following suit, and breast cancer. I mean, it was a mess. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, what can I do? Right. And I'm so grateful I found this medicine. And